verse 1, Exodus chapter 4, verse 1. It says, and Moses answered, but behold, they will not believe me or listen to and obey my voice, for they will say, the Lord has not appeared to you. And the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? What is that in your hand? And he said, a rod. But I'm going to deal with the question that God asks him and not the answer that Moses gave him. He said, what is that in your hand? So just for a moment, I just want to give you the title, because sometimes we are trying to figure out the whole journey of our lives, but God is trying to just give us something to work with. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to believe that you just need one more thing before you can start? If I could just take one more class, if I can just get one more opportunity, if I can make one more connection, Lord, I just need one more confirmation. Lord, can I just get one more season? We keep telling ourselves, when I get more time, when I get more money, when I get more confidence, when I get more clarity, then I'll step out. Then I'll lead. Then I'll serve. Then I'll build. Then I'll move. Then I'll do whatever God put in my heart. And quietly, without realizing it, we push purpose into the future. But the Bible doesn't talk like that. The Bible tells a very different story, because God rarely starts with what you don't have. He starts with what's already in your hands. Look at somebody and ask them, what's in your hand? No. Really ask them, what's in your hand? Not what's in your wallet, Samuel. Because most church folk spend their lives waiting on what's next, while heaven keeps pointing to what's now. Today we're continuing connective tissues. Last week we learned this don't work without you. This morning we learned bring what you carry. And now God asks us the next question. What's in your hand? Because the greatest obstacle to your purpose is usually not what you're missing. It's what you're holding. God asked Moses this strange question. Moses, what's in your hand? God didn't say, what's in heaven? God didn't ask him, what's in your future? He didn't even ask him, what is in your dreams? He said, what's in your hand? Because God specializes in using what we already carry. He specializes in using what we already carry. So he's going to ask you, what do you have? Remember, connective tissue transfers strength, but strength can't transfer if hands are closed. God starts with what you already have. That's one revelation point, right? Write that down. God starts with what you already have. When Moses stood in front of that burning bush, he was focused on everything he didn't have. Sometimes we come to a burning bush moment where we start focusing on everything we don't have. He felt like he didn't have confidence because, he'd been through some stuff. He used to be a prince in Egypt. Now he was a sheep herder. He used to have money. Now he works for a living. He used to have a clean record. Now he's known as a murderer. He looked at what he didn't have. He felt like he didn't have eloquence. I cannot talk like everybody else. I have a lisping and stuttering and stammering tongue. I won't. He felt like he didn't have it. He felt like he didn't have credibility. Why are they going to listen to me? I don't have a position anymore. I don't have a post anymore. I don't have posture anymore. I don't have a crown anymore. Why should they listen to me? He didn't feel like he had the right resume or the right past. And truth be told, some of us have burning bush moments almost every day. I don't have enough confidence. I don't talk like everybody else. I can't speak like everybody else. I don't have credibility. People don't trust me like that because maybe I've burnt bridges and I'm trying to get it right now, but I don't have credibility, or I haven't worked in the right places. I'm not the right color. I'm not the right, I didn't grow up in the right neighborhoods. I don't have the right connections. So Moses asked God for reassurance. What if they don't listen to me? In other words, what if I'm not good enough? How many times have you asked yourself that question? What if I'm not good enough? And we expect God to answer with an answer, but God answers with a question. Isn't that just like God? Like everybody else, if you ask them a question, they'll answer an answer. What if they don't listen to me? Then you should do this. That's what we'll do, right? If somebody says, why won't they? What if they don't listen to me? We'll say, well, you know what you should do? You should make them listen, or you should do this. We will give advice, but God asks him, what's in your hand? He asks him a question. God didn't answer Moses' insecurities. He redirected Moses' attention. And sometimes we want people to answer our insecurities where God has said, listen, you're focused on what you don't have. You're focused on your insecurity. Let's redirect. Touch somebody, tell them it's time to redirect. Because God rarely begins with what's missing. He chooses to begin with what's present. God does not begin with who left you. A lot of times God will begin with who stayed. I learned that years ago as a pastor. It was said to me that you can't beat up the people that stayed because you're mad at the people who left. You can't live your life like that because then you abuse the wrong people. Not that you should abuse anybody. Let me make sure that's clear. They're like, oh, pastor said I can abuse some folk. Redirect. Moses thought he needed a new tool, but God pointed not to a new tool, but to an old stick. A shepherd's rod, ordinary, common, familiar, not impressive. But when it was surrendered, it became supernatural. See, some stuff people will try to size you up and say, it's just a rod. It's just a dead piece of wood. It's common. Everybody got one. You know, it's not impressive. It's just a stick. But when it was surrendered to God, it stopped being natural and it became supernatural. That same rod we will find will be able to turn into a serpent. That same rod we will find when lifted in front of the Red Sea. That same dead rod, when it was surrendered and lifted up, it opened up the Red Sea completely. It opened up a new path when it was surrendered. It wasn't a new boat that got them across the Red Sea. It was an old stick. That stick, when a rock is struck by it, yields water. That stick that was ordinary became a symbol of God's power. The miracle was never the rod, though. Don't get it twisted. Don't say, oh, I just need to get me a rod. I need to get me an old stick. The miracle wasn't the rod, y'all. The miracle was the release. I need you to hear me. The miracle was not in the rod, it was in the release. Because as long as he held it, it was a stick. But whenever time he released it or he put it to the purpose that God told him to put it, God told him to lift it up, he lifts it up, and the Red Sea opens up. God will use, touch somebody, tell them, God will use what you release. God will use what you release. Even though we live in a culture that is always asking God for more or always asking more, we spend so much time asking God for more that we overlook what we already have. God, I want more. I want more. I want more. Give me more opportunities. But he's saying, what have you done with the opportunities I already given you? I need more resources. But if you don't change your character or your spending habits, you'll do with what comes next, with what you did with what you had last. God, I need more clarity. How much more clarity do you need? That person has cheated on you 12 times out of 13. I just need more clarity. God, is this person for me? Yeah, they for you, your friend, your friend's friend, your friend's 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 friend. They was for everybody. He said, everybody have fun tonight. Everybody wang chunk tonight. God, I need more confidence. And you have to, God says, well, if I give you confidence, will you step out or will you hold it? God, I need more doors. Why? Will you knock on them? If God sends you to more doors, will you step in them? You're asking God for more, and heaven is asking you what's in your hand. We think we need, see, this is church folk. We think we need a new season. Oh, Lord, I got, this is a new season, new year, right? New year, new me. God said, I brought you the new year. Now you bring me the new you. Just because it's a new season does not mean you're new. He's like, it's a new season. It's a new day. Fresh anointing. We think we need a new season. We think we need a new platform. If I just get on a new stage, it needs to be different. I was talking to a pastor, and he's like, man, people jump from church to church, from platform to platform. They think they get a new platform, God is going to move in a different way. No, if they take that same entire gift on a new platform, they'll get the same results. If I get a new position, promotion does not indicate validation. Sometimes we think if I get a new position, no, if you was late in your old position, chances are, new position, still late. Maybe I need a new title, especially in church, right? People move up. People look at church like corporate America, entry-level position. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna be a leader. Okay, I'm gonna parlay that leader to being a deacon or deaconess in some church, a deaconess. Okay, I'm gonna parlay that because they gave me an opportunity to do announcements. I feel like I got a little bit of, something here. Pastor, I'm called to preach. And because you have a really good testimony, and you get up there, your first message is your testimony, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you really preach. All you got is a testimony. And after a while of telling the same testimony, all we hear is the moaning. And then they try to parlay. I've been a minister for 25 years. Can I be an elder? Okay, you're an elder now. Okay, now I'm an elder. The Lord has told me to go start a church. Okay, you started a church now. The Lord told me that pastoring is not enough. I need to be a bishop. Do you oversee any churches? Nope, but I just feel a bishop anointing. Bishop is not enough. Now you have to be an archbishop. Archbishop ain't enough. Now you want to be an apostle. Apostle is not enough. You want to be an archapostle. And every title is the same tired person. And it's not the title that does the work. One more title, one more thing at the end of your name. ESQ, DDS, BBL. Just pick 3 letters. Just pick 3 letters. Just pick them. But we get so into those things, a new title, all those other kinds of, but God often starts with what's already in your reach. Stop trying to reach for more when you're not doing anything with the things that are within your reach. God, I want more of that out there. And God said, I got more for you in here, but you're not doing anything with what I've already given you, so why would I waste more? The problem is not always lack. Sometimes the problem is unreleased supply. You're not doing anything with the supply you already have. Eat what's on your plate. You don't need another conference. You don't need another class. You don't need another confirmation. When the prophet comes, you don't need to be like, Lord, I just need another confirmation. What about 75 other confirmations that you have? What about the way the word, sometimes you don't need a prophetic word. You just need to read the word. What does the word see in me? No, God said, what do you see in the word? Sometimes you just need to use what God already gave you, because the kingdom doesn't move forward when we just collect gifts. The kingdom moves forward when we release gifts. There's a lot of churches that have collected a lot of gifts. And sometimes they collect the gifts from other churches. And they just store all these gifts. And no power is really released in the house because they just storing gifts. But God is looking for the release. And the moment Moses released the rod, his calling moved from theory to action. Moved from theoretical to actual when you release what God gave you. But as long as you hold it, it's theoretical. It could work. It could produce a breakthrough. It could, but when it's released, it's actualized. And the same thing happens in our lives. Purpose begins the moment we stop waiting and start using what's already in our hands. That's when purpose begins. Purpose does not begin as long as we're holding back. I'm waiting for one more thing. Pastor, I'm waiting on the Lord to speak to me. Well, how much longer do you have to wait on the Lord to speak to you? Are you sending him a voicemail? You get bad service. God didn't wait until Moses felt ready. God didn't wait for Moses to feel confident. God did not wait for Moses to feel qualified. God started with what was in his hand. We're waiting for too many graduations. But if I graduate from here, if I finish this, if I finish this, if I finish this, I would tell couples, because everybody always says the same. Well, I don't say everybody. A lot of people say the same thing. I have to wait for everything is perfect before we get married. And so you're dating for decades. For real. Does anybody besides me know people? They live together, and the only reason why they haven't gotten married because things aren't perfect yet. And as long as you're living in sin, things will never be perfect. So when we look at it and take a step back, every road we've talked to leads to release your supply. Because as long as you hold back, things aren't going to change. God will start with what's in your hand. He will start with what you already have. And stop asking for more when you're not doing anything with what God has already given you. What thing has been in your hands for years? What ideas have been in your mind for years? Sometimes ideas are in our minds so long they become obsolete. Inventions that you had, thoughts that you had were good 20 years ago, but the world is changing. Now your ideas now, that idea now is past this moment. Listen, I don't believe that God only gives a vision for a particular invention to one person. I believe it's in the spirit. And I believe God, some people catch it and they hear what God is saying, but they never step out. And only the person that had enough faith to step out and do it actualizes it. How many times have you said to yourself, maybe you have, I've been there before, said to yourself, man, I thought about doing that. They did what I've been thinking about doing for years and never did. I don't have regrets, but I had to kick myself a moment, right? I knew to do Power Burst live on Facebook Live years before I ever did Power Burst on Facebook Live. Years before. I knew it because we were doing conference calls for years. I started doing daily prayer and teaching in 2010. 2010. We didn't start doing Facebook Live until 2017-ish. But I knew years earlier that I should have been doing Facebook Live. I'm up, I'm ready, I need to be moving, I need to be doing it, and I never did it. I never did it. I had the idea. I just did not carry it out. There was something in my hand, and I never carried it out. And so not regret, just kick myself because I should have done it. So how many of you have ideas that are in your hand that have not been realized? Or leadership that you should have exhibited that could have changed the course of businesses, of your family, ministry? Faith that you believe God for, but you never stepped out on it. Why? Because maybe you've been disappointed. Maybe the enemy made you think, you'll never be able to do it. Or you have imposter syndrome. Maybe it's not for me. But real faith has to be leveraged. Compassion that you have a heart for people, but you haven't been putting that heart to work. Or maybe God has gifted you opportunities, but you haven't leveraged them because you can't handle one more potential failure, so you won't even try for potential success. What has been in your hand for years? Experience. You have experience that can help the world, but you won't even help yourself. God is asking that same question he asked Moses. Moses comes to God. God has a calling on him. He calls him out of a burning bush. He says, listen, your people are dying. They are crying so bad, I hear them from heaven. I can hear their cries from heaven, and I'm responding by calling somebody who I believe is ready, but they don't think they're ready. God knew Moses had everything he needed. Moses didn't believe it. And it could be because Moses had issues. Moses was an adopted kid. Moses was a former felon. Moses had it all and lost it all. And yet and still he felt like, God, me? But God said, every experience that you have informs me that you can handle it. You've dealt with people at every level, from the prison to the palace. You've dealt with having and not having. And you still now are called to your people. You feel the calling and pull to your people. Yes, I want to use you. He said, but God, what if they don't see me like you see me? His response is, what's in your hand? In other words, you have something at hand already. You have something already of value. Tell somebody, you got something of worth. You have something of worth. I don't know if that's your ideas that look like an old stick, your leadership that might feel archaic, your faith that people might not trust. your compassion that people might not believe, the opportunities that people might not see, or the experience that people don't validate. But it's not for the people to see it. It's for God to say you got it. God sees you with it. He knows you have it. God is still asking that same question, what is in your hand? Because God doesn't need perfection. He just wants participation. We're thinking that we have to be perfect. God just said, I just need you in the game. Use what you have. Start where you are. Bring what you carry. Because if you use what you have, that old stick can be a serpent. That old stick can open up doors. That old stick can get water from a rock. That old stick can be a symbol of the power of God operating in your life. But as long as you're holding on to that stick and not thinking it's going to be anything other than that stick, it will just be dead wood, dead weight. But if you trust God, the God that gave you the power, and surrender what you have to him, it's a game changer. Surrender your idea to him, it's a game changer. Surrender your business to him. Yeah, you might be on a strip with everybody else, but if God breathes on it, he'll bring the world to you. Moses says, I have this rod. And God said, we can work with that. Throw it on the ground. He throws it on the ground. It becomes a serpent. He says, now pick it back up. He picks it back up. It was a rod again. It only changed when he released it. But as long as he was holding on to it, it didn't move. Some stuff is not moving in your life because you haven't released it to God. Some stuff could be alive if you ever just trusted God with it. Some stuff could live if you have faith to trust God with it. If I just do with it what God told me to do with it and stop doing what everybody else tells me. What's in your hand? Not what you don't have yet. Because we always try to spend money we don't have. No, what do you have now? Because God always, if we look at Scripture, we'll see God always working with what the person had. In 1 Kings 17, all that woman had was a little bit of cornmeal, a little bit of oil. But when she released it to God's trust, or trusted it with God, the Bible says that that little bit of meal lasted her years. A little bit of oil replenished itself. When the little boy who had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread came to Jesus, they were asking around, they said, what do we have? It's thousands of people that are hungry. What do we have? And the disciples said, we got some money, but we don't really have enough. We only got enough to buy maybe we could feed 4 or 5 or 10, maybe 20 people. But it's thousands. What can we do with this little for this much? And a little boy stepped up. Said, here's my lunch. My mama packed it for me this morning, 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And Jesus took that. When it was released into the hands of Jesus, it fed multitudes. But as long as it was just in the boy's hands, it was just lunch. It went from lunch to launch. God will take you from lunchtime to launch time if you just trust him with what you got. Jesus says, listen, I don't want everybody to die for their sins. But if just one person, the Son of God, I might not look like a lot because I came from a situation that looked sketchy. My mom, my dad that raised me, my dad is not my biological father. My mom was called all kind of names when she was pregnant before my dad and my mom got together. And people would ask the question, can anything good come out of Nazareth? They didn't even think I was good enough. But this sacrifice, when my body is given up, Jesus said, Father, unto thy hands I commend my spirit. He gave his life, and that one life changed the trajectory of our destinies. What's in your hand? And I'm reminded of Jesus because when Jesus arose from the dead, he went to the house of the disciples, and when he got there, he told them that he was Jesus. And they didn't believe that, but Thomas didn't believe. And he said to him, let me see your hand. And what was in Jesus' hand? The hole. Something in his hand. I'm telling you, y'all, I'm telling you, there's something God gave you that could be global. There's something God gave you that could be a game changer. But you need to spend some time praying and asking God, God, show me what's in my hand that I've been overlooked, that I've overlooked and undervalued. I guarantee you. Because if somebody else, I'm an old spades player, right? I play spades. I don't lose. So just let you know that I don't lose the spades. That's why I'm not coming to your event, because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But how many times have you watched somebody play spades and you watched them lose? Or you watched them play bid whist and you watched them lose? And you said, oh, if I had only had what was in their hand, I could have set them. Because I didn't play with what was in my hand. They did not know how to use what was in their hand. And the difference between winning and losing is being able to figure out what's in your hand.